Facebook viewers and friends. Lena Washington here, Sean Cunningham, your ABC10's sports team, if you will. Happy Wednesday. I know a lot of you are asking about the road conditions and all that crazy weather. We will have updates for you. Monica has it all covered, but we're going to talk a little Kings with you because they have one more game ahead of them before the All-Star break, tipping off in Denver in just a few hours, 6 o'clock tip-off, and they have a chance to close out the All-Star break, or the first half of the season, I should say, with 31 wins, which last time that's happened, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It was, 04, 05,
yeah.
something like that. I mean, it's incredible because, I mean, we think about what we predicted before the season started. We didn't predict them to even have 30 wins, and here they are going into the All-Star break with 30, with the opportunity to get their 31st. And we want to know what you guys want to think. It's on with Facebook. Questions, comments, all that.
Yeah, we've got our Facebook up here, so we're taking your questions, your comments. Obviously, we joined you guys last week after a pretty busy trade deadline. So for some people, this Kings team that they're looking at is a little different from the one that started the season. And they started the season hot. They hit a little bit of a slump, I guess, around Thanksgiving, Halloween time. And then they started the season, or I guess the new year, off with some momentum with the winning record.
Except for that 6-game road trip when it was on. They had that. I mean, that was over 13 days, and that was looking pretty bad. And then they come back and they rattle off 8 of 9 wins at home. And when you mentioned the trade, I mean, they vastly changed their roster. We've had 2 games since that trade, and they've looked okay. The Miami game was a little bit of a rough one. They come back and win that one, and then you play your Phoenix Suns, who are just garbage, hot trash.
No one's denying that, but
11. You know, I mean, you're facing a team with 11 wins who did beat the Kings earlier in the season.
Right.
So, and then Marvin Bagley puts together a career high and was absolutely spectacular. I think that's great momentum coming into tonight against Denver, who all of a sudden a former King, Isiah Thomas, decides he's ready to play.
Yeah.
So that just adds another dynamic, and I actually think that could play to the Kings' favor tonight. I really do. I think when you try to bring somebody back in that regard, sometimes it messes up chemistry a little bit, and I think for Kings fans are hoping that that's the case.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a big stretch of games starting tonight in Denver. So this is the final game before the All-Star break. We got a couple guys heading to Charlotte to show off their skills, not All-Stars, but rising stars. And then when they come back, they're at Golden State, they're at Oklahoma City, and then they're at Minnesota. The Timberwolves aren't in the playoff standings, but they're still a very talented team. But they're going up against number 2 in the West, number 1 in the West, and number 3 in the West before coming home to face Giannis Antetokounmpo at home to come back for another stretch. We won't revisit that. But, yeah, I mean, Kings fans are buying in now. I mean, you see Darren Fox throwing out GIFs on Twitter saying, bet on it, bet on me, and fans are excited. I mean, they're smelling the playoffs for the first time in 12 years. It could happen here.
Well, and you talk about having guys that go to participate in All-Star Weekend before this stretch of really stout games. And the thing that stands out to me is when you've got so many guys, 4 guys who are going to participate in All-Star Weekend, the rest of the team will be able to relax.
Yeah.
But when you're even participating in All-Star Weekend and you're not there Sunday, they're going to literally have 2 days off.
Yeah.
2 days off. So in Charlotte, come all the way across the country. I know for Marvin Bagley's going to L.A. Everyone else come back to Sacramento. You get a day off, and then Tuesday evening, ramp it right back up and practices again. And this team hasn't had a lot of practice time, so this is a really crucial stretch for them. I think a lot of people are saying it's coming at a good time, and it is. But then right out of the gate with the Warriors, and you mentioned that schedule, and that's going to be stout when you're sitting right now, 30 and 26.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you could be 500 by the time this is over.
Exactly. And for those who haven't checked the ESPN standings or hit refresh since, I guess, Monday night, I would say, the Kings are in the 8th spot right now in the playoffs. Only 8 teams make it, so they're right there. They've been teetering between 7 and 10th throughout most of the season, really since about mid-October. But now they're cracking into the playoff standings right now. They are tied with the Clippers in terms of their winning record. Clippers are 31-27, and then the Lakers' loss last night pushed them back 2.5 games behind Sacramento. So those 2 LA teams and what they do over these next couple weeks is going to be something that Kings fans are paying very close attention to because they kind of hold the Kings' future in their hands. And even though it's a very small window between, I guess, even the 4th seed in the West and the 8th seed.
Right.
So a lot can happen with playoff teams coming to town and them visiting them in the next couple weeks.
And I think what I like, too, is even when that stretch is over and you get the Milwaukee game here at home to balance all those out, you start March right at home against the Clippers March 1st. That's exactly who you're in competition with. Obviously, you got the Lakers, too, Minnesota in the mix, but Clippers, too. They're going to start trickling down a little bit, and I think you'll distance themselves a little hopefully soon, because that's they're the ones that they had to chase. The Lakers look like they're kind of in disarray. The only ones that are really trending in the right direction right now are Sacramento, Utah, obviously, but I think they're the ones of that bottom group that are kind of trending in the right way.
There.
So
yeah. Well, definitely weigh in on your thoughts for the postseason, this next stretch of games. Even we have an off-season question right here from Milos, who said, who do you think the Kings are going to pursue in the offseason? There's still one roster spot available after all that shakeup with the trade deadline and such. But Corey Brewer's still on a 10-day. We got Troy Williams down in Stockton as part of the Kings G League affiliate.
And Ennis Cantor just signed with Portland.
Yes,
so he's one guy that somebody might have had circled to see what happens with him. He's now joining Portland. I'll start. I mean, I think if you're asking me about offseason acquisitions, I think the guy that they have to have circled with a bullet to throw all the money out at is Tobias Harris.
Okay.
That's the guy I would go at. I mean, obviously, look, you have Harrison Barnes now. Yeah, he was traded to Philly from the Clippers. Help them with their little championship push, see what they can do. And I think Philly would like to keep him, but they've got a lot of guys that they're paying. Obviously, you've got Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. Jimmy Butler's going to be a free agent. He's another guy I really like. There's a lot of free agent threes that I would target. Now, obviously, you just traded for Harrison Barnes, and obviously, Vlade Divac, the Kings general manager, is saying we picture him as an option for our future. He's got 1 year left, going to pay him $25 million. However, he's thinking of opting out to extend long-term with Sacramento. And I think that's a move that you do if you strike out on the likes of Tobias Harris, Jimmy Butler, those types of guys. And I'm not saying that they love – I will say this. I know Kings love Tobias Harris. I mean, they're not shy in that. They are giddy over Tobias Harris. That's probably a little bit of a pipe dream, but the good news is the Kings have all the money in the world to throw at the guy.
They do.
They can compete with the pocketbook. So that will be something worth paying attention to. And I know there's other – look, in the terms of, like, people wanting to see Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, that's not happening.
Yeah. We got to get to the playoffs first, right? Because, I mean, even – the thought of Anthony Davis coming here, that's a great idea, but he wants to go to a contender. Let's not forget that's kind of where he wants to go. Sacramento's not there yet. They could be getting there.
So messy.
Right?
So messy. That's even worse, too. Now the NBA is saying you got to play him. He's demanded a trade. He's getting booed off the home floor.
Yeah.
What do you do?
That's going to be a very exciting offseason, I guess, with all the free agents, all the money that can be thrown around. To be honest,
I'm just thrilled we don't have to cover that, because that would be a nightmare.
Yeah, well, one day we'll get to Woj or Shams level.
Yeah.
But Andrea says it would be nice if the Kings actually won a championship for once. Well, they got to get to the playoffs first.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. But like we said, I gave them about 27 wins, which is what they finished with all of last season.
Yeah.
They eclipsed that several games ago, I should say. And they've been pulling out some wins. Like you said, the Miami game was ugly, but they came down from 17 and ended up winning. And a win's a win, especially when you're trying to get into the West with that record.
Doesn't matter if you're winning ugly, blowout wins, doesn't matter as long as you win. And to Andrea's point, look, I know. I mean, I've grown up in this town. I know what it's like.
Yeah.
Kings fans
He's
haven't seen
it all.
Yeah, so we haven't seen a lot. I've covered a 13-win team. That was terrible. So, having to take the baby steps, they've had a rebuild. They're exceeding expectations right now. 12-year playoff drought, and you're in the conversation. You got to kind of take it for what that is. And this is kind of the vision that they had. They knew they weren't going to be competing right away. And why would you? Look at who you have to compete with right now. The Warriors, the likes of now LeBron in LA, however that makes. But Philly, Houston. Look at these upper echelon. Denver. They're built. It takes time. And right now you're starting to see possibly, depending on what happens with KD and free agency, the Warriors might be starting to come over that crest a little bit and start head back down this way. Maybe. Who knows? Klay Thompson's free agent. Draymond Green's a free agent. There's guys worth paying attention to. The Kings are starting to peak at the right time. So maybe in 2 years' time, they are on the level, if they're able to keep all this talent, acquire some other talent, that they can compete for a title. Look, everyone loves the 2002 Kings, the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
That was in the mix of one of the greatest teams you've ever seen assembled. And they didn't make the finals, so it's really difficult.
That's a lot to unpack with that, though. But Andrea said she's been a fan since the 80s, so she has also seen it all. But let's just break down a little bit real quick some pointers for tonight's game against Denver. The Kings have faced them twice, lost both games. And as you mentioned, Isiah Thomas making his return after. This will be his first game. And kind of with all the shuffle, it's almost like you forget he was even with the Nuggets because he got traded, he got all these things.
He came through, and I was beginning to think it wasn't going to happen because as someone who once covered him as a King, he came through a couple weeks back, and I was happy to see Michael Malone, who will be coaching in the All-Star game because of having the best record at the All-Star break for the West. But to see Isiah have a chance to catch up with him, I'm like, is this going to happen?
Yeah.
What are we doing? And he says, no, it's going to happen before the break. It's going to happen before the break. One game, the one remaining game before the break, it happens. I was beginning to think it wouldn't happen. So I'm thrilled for him. I hope he's able to propel them into, because he deserves it. I mean, that guy has been through so much. He'll be a free agent at the end of the year too, so we'll see how that goes. But how does he help tonight? I kind of think it disrupts things a little bit. I think it ends up being a little bit of a distraction. Luckily, the Nuggets, for their fans, they know that they can overcome distractions.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe the Kings can pounce on them.
Yeah, that would make 3 in a row for the Kings, who dropped their game against Houston, which was at home, snapping that home winning streak. But, of course, that was a kind of busy, hectic day for them with the trade deadline, how things went down. So the energy in the building just was not there for them to get that win against a Western Conference
Well, in that
contender.
Houston game, and again, that was trade deadline day where everything just circling around. They were in a weird headspace.
Yeah.
That was not a. First of all, they probably wouldn't have won that game anyway. That's just a terrible matchup for them.
Hill to climb.
Already knowing you don't have Shumpert, you don't have these guys that were involved in trades, and now go stop James Harden.
Right.
That was tough.
Yeah.
That was tough.
But the home games, as we mentioned, there are 11 home games left in the season after this break. So if you haven't gone to a game, go check it out. They have a pretty good entertainment value at Golden One Center. They have tons of shopping, things for kids. And so if you haven't been to check it out, it's a beautiful arena.
18, 19 sellouts?
I believe so, something like that. 17,000 people plus. It's fun. So, and like fans know, this team has not necessarily been exciting to watch, right, for the last several years. So if you want to see what they're up to this season as they look to make some history for this franchise, 10 plus years of postseason drought, that's the longest in the NBA. The Minnesota Timberwolves snapped their streak last season and made it into the playoffs, and so the Kings are looking to follow suit with that. Milos also wants to say, what do you think the problem is with Willie CauleyStein and his non-consistent defense? Is it about motivation, or is he just ain't that good? So, I mean, we've been hearing a lot of fans kind of going at Willie CauleyStein a little bit this season. He's felt it. He's
it's
heard it
happened
too.
a lot.
Yeah.
I think what hurt him the most was starting off the year in such gangbuster style, lots of points, rebounding better, and then he's kind of come down a little bit. I mean, that's Willie CauleyStein in a nutshell. He's been very inconsistent since he's been a player. He's never been a great rebounder. He's a guy that can make the instinctive play, and you go, oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Why can't he do that all the time? It's when he's got to kind of think about it, and then things kind of get in the way. Right. But no, I mean, Willie's what he is, and if you take back all the frustrations, and I get it, he's an easy target. But at least right now, and he didn't. By the way, he didn't help himself coming out and saying, my motivation is to get paid after this year, because he is. He's a restricted free agent, and the Kings hold his rights. So the market will dictate what he gets paid. So he can go out, Boston go, hey, I'm going to throw you $15 million a year. Great. He'll sign that. The Kings will be able to match if they choose to, or they'll let him go, or they can facilitate a sign and trade. But he comes out and says, hey, I want to get paid. That's my motivation. So when you put that out there, even though it's an honest thing, and I have no problem with what he says, you got to kind of back it up. And people want to see that backed up with their play. It's still Willie CauleyStein, and across the board, all the numbers he has, he's improved.
He pretty much has a double-double every night, it seems like.
And in these last 2 wins, boy, he has been absolutely incredible defensively. He's helped out a lot.
Yeah.
And I kind of grimace a little bit because I do see the criticisms. I share those criticisms. I think sometimes people want him to be something that he's not. He has regressed a little bit on the defensive end, but it's coming back. It's just slow waves. Willie being Willie, and he's got 3 other guys that are bigs around him that are playing, so it can be a little bit difficult at times.
True.
Yeah.
Andrea saying she misses Danny Ainge and Reggie Theus.
Ooh.
I think a lot of fans probably
Going
do,
back.
but guess what? They ain't
Short
walking
shorts?
through that door.
Short
Andrea.
shorts?
Yeah,
Yep, the short shorts
era. Yeah.
I'll match her. I miss, and even though they're still in town, Harold Presley and LaSalle Thompson played with those guys. I miss those guys too.
Well, yeah. Old school guys. Eddie Johnson, we saw him at the NBA Finals when we were up there at the Bay Area doing
He knows
his thing.
you. He loves you.
He's a Phoenix guy, so I got to represent as a Phoenix born and bred person. But yeah, so the Kings are in Denver tonight.
Yep.
Tough game.
Who do you like in that game?
I think with the momentum the Kings have, they have and like you said, with Isiah Thomas coming in, they have a chance to steal one. I mean, people are looking ahead to the break. They might be resting some guys. I don't know what the lineup's looking like, but I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it is possible.
She's drinking the purple Kool-Aid. The purple Kool-Aid.
The purple drink.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think the added motivation of knowing what they have. Buddy Hield, he said that he knows what's at stake, and I even asked him after Dave Yeager said he doesn't want them to feel the pressure of feeling the opportunity that they have for this team in this city. But Buddy said, "Oh yeah, there's a lot of pressure. I mean, I've never been in this position. The fans want to see it happen. So I think I would hope to think they're playing with a little extra energy, knowing what's ahead of them and what they can leave the Mile High City with.
Not to be the pessimist, but I always look at it in terms of, hey, while there is this Isiah Thomas guy they're working back, and yes, that could disrupt some things, teams check out the final game before the All-Star break.
So you're including the Kings in that?
Yeah, I would. It's already a mile-high, challenge that they have up there in Denver. So I'm
the altitude.
The altitude could play a role. And actually, the guys that are participating in All-Star Weekend, they don't come back. They go right from Denver to Charlotte, and we'll see Friday when there's the Rising Stars game.
Yep.
Who do you like in that game?
Well, let's see. I think I'm going to go with Team World, honestly.
Yeah.
Bogdan Bogdanovic, part of Team World for the second year. He was MVP last year. He'll be going up against his teammates, Marvin Bagley, Darren Fox, representing Team US. They're joined by the likes of Donovan Mitchell.
Bogey, the reigning MVP.
He is.
Yeah. I kind of think Bagley is going to be somebody that goes after the MVP award.
Yeah, I think so, too.
A Duke guy back in Carolina, being on that stage. They love him over there, and it's not because I'm wearing a Duke shirt either. I just think that.
It's not.
No, I think that's gonna. I honestly think he's gonna try and make a push for that. And when you look at Saturday with the festivities there, I love the odds. Buddy was right below Steph in terms of.
And not by much.
To win the 3-point shootout. And he didn't care. He's like, I don't care, I'm winning it.
I'm betting on myself, he said. I always bet on myself. So Buddy Hield participating in the 3-point contest. He is going to go up against Seth, Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah.
And then that's the...
And the record is 27.
And that was Clay,
in a full round. I think Clay and Steph both did it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They one-upped each other. So Friday night is the Rising Stars game. Saturday starts with the skills challenge. So Darren Fox will be testing his speed, agility, ball handling, passing. He'll be going up against
Buddy was
Trae
in that
Young.
last year.
He was in that last
weird.
year.
So weird.
We haven't had a king in the slam dunk contest since Ben McLemore in 2014,
Jumped
I believe.
over Shaq.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Well, he's sitting down. He was in the throne, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not really jazzed about the slam dunk contest this year. I'll give it to Dennis Smith Jr. because I'm no one else.
I thought I was alone there. That's who I'm going with too.
I mean, you got John Collins, I believe.
He can jump.
Some other guys, but Buddy.
Mikal Bridges,
He's already shot the lights out for Sacramento, so national fans will get to see what he's been doing here all season long.
He hoists threes all the time, and I asked him, I was like, when do you start practicing? Because you got to get find
it's all about the racks.
The rack, and then how you
the
make
money ball at the end.
It's tough. And so he says, no, I won't start practicing until like a day before. And then luckily the next day there was an off day of practice and they started raining them.
Yeah.
So
And
shout out to Akachi Okugo who
Jesuit guy.
he did his thing helping Buddy.
His thing. We'll mention one more comment and then we're gonna wrap up here. But we'll be doing this actually every Wednesday.
Yeah, every week.
As long as the Kings stay hot and if they make the playoffs past April, you will see us here every Wednesday by past April. But Captain Silver says how many All-Stars will come from the Kings, I guess, in the next few years. You said last week you predict Marvin Bagley being in that conversation.
I think he's a budding All-Star, maybe 2 to 3 years from now. I mean, if he projects the way I think he will, I think he's a double-double guy every single night. And it's easier in the West as currently constructed.
With bigs.
You're not a guard, so with him being a big, I think that helps. I think DeAaron's got a little bit of a tougher road to make it there. Buddy is kind of the same thing, but we'll see what happens over the next few years. I think Bagley's got the easiest path. You?
I think that he definitely in the West, given his position and his skill set already. But, I mean, De'Aaron's he's already in the national conversation. If people didn't know that he was in Sacramento and what and Buddy both have been doing here, they've definitely been on the radar for this entire season.
I mean, Clay and Steph, Lillard and McCollum, two of the best backcourts in the league.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's in the league. And they happen to be in the West. In Sacramento, you've got Fox and Hield, and they could likely be there. I mean, look at the production. They're actually better than what McCollum and Lillard has been overall for whole season, basically just behind Steph and Clay. So we'll see. So
we got the future here brewing, and things are panning out as Vlade Divac was hoping it would, maybe a little even ahead of schedule when he
Super
started
team
this.
just young.
Super team just young. Said it last June, draft day, right?
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. It's what you know what? And he took some heat for it. I said, look, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. This is what you're projecting to be. This is what you think you'll have. And with the way free agency is set up and how it benefits the small market teams, you should be in that conversation. Hopefully you do have that.
Well, we will see. Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, playoffs are the first step. 30-26. The Kings going to Denver tonight, looking to pick up their 31st win before All-Star break. 8th in the West right now. Let's see if they can keep climbing as we look ahead to mid-April. We'll be back next Wednesday right here on our ABC10 TV Facebook page. Follow us, L Washington TV, Sean Cunningham or Sean.Cunningham on Instagram. And if you have any other questions or things you want to let us know about the Kings, send us your comments, your questions, concerns, and we will address them next Wednesday at 3. Have a good rest of your day. Stay cool, stay dry, beware of the hail. Yeah.